Welcome to StoryHaven, where meaningful stories come alive. Today, we bring you a tale about the difference between being right and being wise. It is a story that may shift your perspective on arguments, mistakes, pride, and compassion. Stay with us until the end. This story might just change the way you see others and yourself. Hello, everyone. I have a story for you today. A story that I hope will resonate deeply and perhaps even shift your perspective. It centers on a man who was perpetually driven to be right, no matter the cost. However, his journey ultimately taught him that wisdom far surpasses the fleeting satisfaction of being correct. So, please stay with me until the end, as this narrative might just transform how you approach disagreements, mistakes, and the pitfalls of pride. Once upon a time, in a tranquil village nestled near rolling hills, lived a man named Ethan. The village was a place where the air was always crisp and clean. The mornings were filled with cheerful birdsong, and everyone knew their neighbors by name. Ethan was regarded as one of the most intelligent individuals in the village. He was an avid reader, a skilled handyman, and always spoke with unwavering confidence. Yet, there was a particular trait about Ethan that others quietly observed: his constant need to be right. If someone mentioned, "The market stays open until noon," Ethan would promptly correct them. "Actually, it closes at 11:45. If someone offered advice, he would interject, "That's not the optimal approach. Let me explain the correct method." He meant no harm. He truly believed that truth should always be stated immediately and directly. However, he failed to realize that truth without kindness often comes across as arrogance. One sunny afternoon, Ethan was sitting outside the local tea shop, talking with his friend Ryan. They were discussing farming, something Ethan had extensively researched in books but had never experienced firsthand. Ryan said, "I think the new fertilizer is working better." Ethan, with a knowing smile, replied, "No, that one damages the soil. The older formula is superior. You just don't understand the chemistry." Ryan chuckled softly and conceded, "Maybe you're right," ending the discussion. That evening, he told his wife, "I value Ethan's friendship, but sometimes I just wish he would listen." Gradually, people began to avoid conversations with Ethan, not because he was a bad person, but because every interaction felt like an exam. A few days later, on his way to the market, Ethan noticed an elderly man named Mr. Collins struggling to carry a large basket of mangoes. The basket was far too heavy for his frail arms. As he crossed the street, the old man tripped on a small stone, causing the mangoes to scatter everywhere, some into the mud, others rolling across the path. Ethan immediately rushed to help. "Be careful, sir," he exclaimed. As he gathered the fallen fruit, he said, "You shouldn't carry so many things at once. It's dangerous." Mr. Collins gave him a gentle smile. "Thank you, son. These are for my grandchildren. I wanted to surprise them." Ethan frowned. "Still, that was careless. You should have planned better. You nearly lost all of them." The old man remained silent, still smiling softly. "Maybe you're right," he whispered. Ethan felt a wave of pride, convinced he had taught the man a valuable lesson. But as he walked away, something unsettled him. The old man's calm and forgiving smile lingered in his mind. A week later, heavy rain struck the village. The sky turned gray, the roads became muddy, and everyone stayed indoors. In the evening, through the misty rain and rumbling thunder, Ethan saw smoke rising from the far side of the village near the river. His heart tightened. It was Mr. Collins's house, partially submerged in water and engulfed in flames. Ethan sprinted through the rain, calling for help. He and several neighbors formed a bucket brigade, drawing water from the river to fight the fire. The flames raged for nearly an hour before finally dying out, leaving the roof destroyed and the walls blackened with smoke. Mr. Collins sat quietly near the doorway, his clothes drenched, his face weary yet strangely peaceful. Ethan placed a blanket around his shoulders and said, "I warned you before. Living so close to the river is dangerous. Look what has happened now." The old man turned to him, eyes calm and serene, and replied, "My son, sometimes people don't need to be told they were wrong. They simply need to feel that someone cares. Ethan froze. The rain fell around him, but his heart stood still. That night he couldn't sleep. He sat by his window, listening to the rain and replaying those words. They simply need to feel that someone cares. He realized his life had been centered on proving his knowledge, proving he was correct, proving others wrong. But what had it brought him? Loneliness, distance, silence. He remembered his sister's tears when he corrected her in front of the family. He remembered the baker avoiding his opinions. He remembered Ryan's strained smiles. And in the darkness, he whispered, "I don't want to be right anymore. I want to be wise." Tears streamed down his face, not from regret, but from a profound awakening. He understood that wisdom meant knowing when to speak, when to listen, and when to simply offer kindness. For the first time he smiled, not because he was right, but because he had learned something no book could teach him. From that day forward, Ethan began to change quietly and humbly. He listened when people spoke. He offered help instead of criticism when someone made a mistake. And when disagreements arose, he would say, "Perhaps we can both learn something from this." Children waved at him. Neighbors greeted him warmly. Ryan said, "Ethan, I don't know what changed you, but it's a pleasure talking to you now." Ethan chuckled. Maybe I stopped trying to win every argument. He still spoke the truth, but with gentleness. He still offered advice, but with empathy. He learned that being right might earn respect, but being wise earns love. One morning, as he passed the newly rebuilt home by the river, Mr. Collins waved. "You're learning quickly," he said. Ethan smiled back. "I'm still learning, sir. But this time from the heart." So, my friends, what lessons can we draw from Ethan's story? Often we become too focused on being right. We strive to win arguments, assert our points, and correct others even when it hurts them. But wisdom is gentler. It listens and understands. Being wise isn't about having more knowledge, but having more empathy. So the next time someone errs or expresses a different opinion, take a deep breath. Choose kindness first. Be wise, not just right. And remember, every action invites a reaction. Choose yours with love and compassion. The moral of the story is that wisdom begins where ego ends. Being right may inflate your pride, but being kind is what makes you truly great. StoryHaven closing message. Thank you for listening to the story from StoryHaven. If you enjoy meaningful stories that inspire reflection and growth, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and stay tuned for more stories like this. See you in the next video.